welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to together solve the daily LeetCode problem. So for today's problem, that again we need to find the increasing subarrays detection 2. And yesterday we have already solved the increasing subarrays detection 1. And for that, like, we just simply check any kind of the consecutive, like the subarrays which is strictly increasing. So for our today problem, that would be like a little bit more difficult because like the k is not it's not given, and then we need to find the maximum value of the k. So I think that like the first simple approach in here is that like if we can solve the yesterday problem with a given value of the k, and then so our simplest approach is that, like, for example, we just need to create the function of the valid array, the valid k, right? And then so somehow like the input should be the k, and for each value of the k with our given array, and then somehow like we can validate that case of the window length in here, that is the case, it is valid or not. If this one is valid, and then somehow like we can keep increasing the k, and this and vice versa, we will decrease the value of the k, and then now finally we can find the value of the k using the binary search. So this one is the first approach. However, this one is not efficient for our today problem. But I try to solve in this case and it still work, and I will demonstrate it later. However, like in here for today, if we base on the observations, and then this problem will be much more easier. So what is the observation? So firstly, let's say that we have the array like in the example number 1, and then we can transform it into the strict array. For example, like this one is like we can see that like the strict in here, that is from 2 to the 9th, and then that one like the length of the strict is 5, and then another strict is from 2 to 4, that strict is 3, and in here that is 3 and 1, we have the 1 and 1. If we just consider the strict array here, and it can lead us to maybe simple approach. For example, like in here we can see that firstly, if we just need to consider two consecutive number in the strict array, and then somehow like we can see that like we just need to find the maximum between the two consecutive one. For example, like in here, however, like in here, because like the length of this one is 5 and 3, so it means that like two consecutive strict has the same length. That would be the minimum between them. So it means that like that is the mean. That would be the mean of 5 and 3, right? It will give us the 3. Okay, so that is this one is a one candidate for the k, and then we keep iterating for the next value, and then in here we will have the mean between the 3 and 1, that is the one, right? And another mean is from the 1 to the 1, right? That would be the 1, and then we expect to get the maximum value of the k. So in here we just need to get the max over all of the candidates, and then we can result in the value of 3. Okay, so if from here our iteration, like our logic in here is that like we will get the max, and let's say that initial result is the max pair, for example, right? Max pair. And then so another thing in here is that like we will get the mean between two consecutive value. So let's say that we have the previous value of the strict and the current value of the strict, and this is our logic. However, like in here we also have another example too, and this example, it will give us other observations. For example, like this one, that would be like 4. And so yeah, this one is only 4 because like you can see that in here it is not increased. So in here like we can transform it into 4, 1 and 1, right? The only thing we have, but this one is not consecutive in this case. So we can see that in here the value of the output is 2. If we just apply our logic in here, and then that would be like simply failed. because like in here the result of 2 is that like we can divide the strict 4 into two smaller subarrays by itself. So in here it suggests us to add another thing in the logic here. It means that like for now our logic in here is that like it would be the max between two consecutive value here, the pref and the current, and then so for this one we will divide it by 2, and then so for example like in here we have the 4 and 1, right, and that would be the 4, and when we divide it by 2 that would be the 2. So totally if we add all the things together in the logic in here, so that would be the max and the max pair, and here we have the mean between two previous and the current value, and another things in here like we can get the max of the previous and the current divided by 2. Yeah, so I think that this is the final things we just need to solve the today problem. Okay, so let's just implement it together. Yeah, so in here let's say that we initialize the strict with the value of 1, and then we will create the strict array that is empty at the beginning, and then we will construct it by iterating through the nums array. There's nums, and then so here like if the nums I greater than nums I minus 1, right, it means because like we need something like strictly increased, and then so here we will add the strict by 1, and otherwise it means that if the strict is terminated, and then so we will just like update the strict array and by strict, and then we will assign the value of strict is 1, and then so if finally if nothing else happened, because like if we finish iterating through the array, we need to append the strict at the end, and then so here like that is strict, and then like array dot append, and then we just append the strict. Okay, so for now we can construct the strict array, and so based on this strict array, and then if we also have the exception, what if the strict array is only 1, right, I mean it has only one element, and then in this case handle the exception, right. So in this case, so if the value length of the strict, if that is equal to 1, and then we just need to simply return the the strict array 0 divided by 2. However, like in here, if we notice that in here the nums length is like that is would be at least 2. The length of them is 2, so it means that in here the minimum number of the strict array, if it has only one element, is 2, and then like if we divide by 2, that will return the 1. So here like that is how we can handle the exception, and then for now we just need to apply the logic in here, and then to apply the logic in here, so let's say that we have the max pair, it will be initialized as the 1, and then like we will previous and the current is the strict array, right, and the strict array from 1 to go to infinity, go to the last element. So with one is from the very beginning, and another one is from the element 1. So in here like just the concise way for us to iterate through the array, and then so the max pair, that would be equal to the max of the first thing, we just put the max pair in to compare with the previous value of itself, and then so here like we will get the previous and the current one, and then we will divide by 2, so this one handle the exception as we mentioned in the example number 2, and also we get the mean between two consecutive value of the previous and current, and in here we just simply return the max pair, right. Okay, max pair return just typos error. Okay, this one is the strict array. Okay. Yep, so I think this is the maybe most popular solution. However, like in here, I also use the binary search approach. So in here, like indeed this logic is from yesterday algorithms, and then so we just need to create the binary search in here for the value of the k. So I think that is the most natural way for us to solve this problem. But yes, so we can see that like based on the observation, and then somehow like we have the better solution like this. Yeah, so in here, because like I do a lot, because like that is not the totally wrong answer, but I mean like I can solve it, but I want to improve the code, so I try to optimize the code. So that is the reason why somehow like I have the wrong answer. Yeah, so I think that that's all the things for our today LeetCode problem. Thank you so much for watching my video, and see you next time.